Good morning. Welcome. Drink Less, Feel Fresh supporters, fans, family, and listeners. Tommy Cartwright here, founder of Drink Less, Feel Fresh, accompanied by the incredibly talented, switched on, well-dressed. I'll keep it going. Currently feeling fresh AF, back from a very long and enjoyable holiday. Nat Hodges. Nat, how you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be back on the podcast. Let's do this.
Love it.
How long's it been? 2 months? 2 months?
2 months and too long. You've left Tommy Cartwright in the trenches here. I've been facilitating these podcasts on my own.
Everyone's heart's just bleeding. It's missing me. Where did he go?
We'll just let the numbers do the talking. My ego is going to get a great hit if the last 2 months has the biggest viewing attendance, and then it drops now that Nat's back. Oh, mate. Nat, today we're diving into something that you're pretty excited to chat about, and I'm going to kind of let you go on this one. Let the beast loose to pick up the last
don't
few
do
weeks.
That. This is the worst timing to do that.
Mate, Nat, the sudden collective change view, large group, as you called it, the sudden collective of a change in view of alcohol consumption and potentially the demand or the need for everybody to look at this drug differently than we have in the past. What goes on for you when you hear that? Like, what are your thoughts if you were just to...
What goes on for me?
It's too big, right?
Well, do you want me to try put it together?
Let's have a crack. Our listeners love it that when we have a crack, and if we need to dive deeper at a later date, we can.
So I'm going to have to say how I'm going to try and put this together. The first thing you got to realize is that this is not going to fit any rational model. It's not going to fit any rational model.
What do you mean by that?
It's a story. It's the way if I look at what this is going to be very interesting. It's fun for me too. The way I look at alcohol and how it's interacting with people. You've got a bunch of individuals interacting with this experience and substance. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's what's happening. Right. Now, I'm going to tell a story. Is that cool? And it's going to be pretty interwoven and interesting. It's going to be a different podcast today.
Love it. Bring it on.
Okay, cool. Let's say before we knew everything as it is, this very how our culture operates, this very kind of machine-like, well-oiled thing that's, very multiplicity, and it's all kind of works, but it's kind of a bit clunky, and it just kind of repeats itself over and over and over. That's what's kind of we're all experiencing. Imagine that as a way. So imagine a bunch of basket weavers. Same thing, a bunch of basket weavers. And all these weavers had different styles, and they would weave baskets in a different way. Now, if you would carry a basket, you would feel what kind of weaver did it. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. So what's happening now is that one of these deep weaves of the way one of these baskets got really popular, really, really popular. And so a lot of people started investing in this one basket because of the weave. Now, what's happening, Tommy, is something very interesting, is this inner weave, this kind of inner pattern that we've all felt is changing completely. This inner weave that we've all invested in, it's kind of a substance. It's an inner weave. And because we do work with people, we get to touch on some very, very interesting conversations. Yeah.
I'm just curious, Nat, are you almost suggesting here that it's not individuals that are creating change, it's a large collection of individuals that are creating change at the same time?
Yeah, there's a weave between individuals, and that's exactly right? There's a weave, and the whole weave is changing, which means everyone is changing at the moment. Everyone is changing. It's really cool to see. Like, it's really simple. We thought we had it all covered. There's a little deeper thread, and when that deeper thread wants to change, we're all changing with it. I just call it a novelty wave. It's a novelty wave. Is everything stable, right? Because if you really feel it, our fundamental values were stable. Cool. Stable. It's all kind of going the same. People are adopting the same values up generations and generations, and then bang, all of a sudden we have all this value change. All of a sudden, all these different people are valuing different things, and it's messing up markets, and people don't know how to fit with each other. This weave has done its thing. And so now we'll come back to the alcohol. Okay, what happens in our inner cells if this weave is changing and our values are changing? Alcohol doesn't have a place because it's too hard to manage the change if alcohol's in your system. Simple.
Yeah.
What a crazy view, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it is a very interesting view because you're not looking at the alcohol as the problem at all. You're looking at the problem is you're not able to keep up with the change because you're consuming a product that's keeping you slow.
Bingo. There's the rate of change. The rate of change has become too fast, and people are going, I actually can't manage my life now because alcohol is such a block to figuring this all out.
Which is why when we have a high functioning or high performing, successful, switched on, savvy business owner or leader of a family dynamic come to us, I just can't keep up. And we ask, oh, what are you doing that's holding you back? Alcohol. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Exactly right. So
yeah,
go for it.
Oh, it's such an interesting view. That's what I love about this podcast, is bringing different views so that people can find their own unique way of clarifying why they do what they do, which is just, there's thousands of views that you can take as opposed to the old school approach, which is you've got the addiction gene. Like it's one view, like you've got the addiction.
It's one view.
I'm with you.
I'd seen this, like, imagine the culture as a blanket. I've almost seen the blanket be like flicked, and then people are getting flicked off their values and are going like, whoa, I'm experiencing some serious change. It's not, and then people will feel that as like everything's chaos, everything's collapsing, everything's changing. It's like, no, you're being reorganized. You're being reorganized in such an intense way, and you have to be more truthful. You have to be more grounded with yourself. But you have to be locked in and paying attention, because this whole the weave is changing, and when alcohol hits that system, it doesn't have the same effect as what it used to. It doesn't just calm you down and settle you and then give you a hangover. It actually starts to augment the system. You get anxiety and you get guilt, and your body's just starting to go, no, we can't do this right now.
Yeah, there's such a level of, some people call it more pain, but there's just a level of like this. Like most people say to us, and Nat, you've been aware of this too for like years now, like people say it's not working anymore. Like the alcohol is not working. I had some alcohol, people say I had 3 glasses. I normally switched off. I was more stressed. Or they say it normally takes me a day to get over it. Now it takes me 3 days. Like the drug that you're consuming is not, not working.
How's this? My wife right now, she's not interested in like changing her alcohol patterns or getting better. She's in her process with alcohol. She knows when she likes it. She knows when she doesn't, right? She's not trying to do anything with it. Mate, when we were in Greece, this is fascinating. When we were in Greece, she was 2 margaritas deep. Normally that is peak my wife. Like loving it, loving herself. I'm loving it. It's all happening. If we get 2 margaritas in, she's bored. She's bored. That's the feeling. She's like, oh, and then she goes 3 margaritas in. 5 margaritas in, she was expecting to be on tables dancing, having a great time. And she's like, I'm not drunk. I feel weird.
Yeah, I bet you're just sitting there not saying anything, knowing it's happening. Isn't that funny? It's so interesting, right? That experience too. Like you just pretty much summed up pretty much summed up my personal experience as well, but not with alcohol, but with coffee recently, like coming off coffee. Like I realized that I'd have 3 coffees and then 1 in the afternoon. It's like my body's like still so tired. And I'm like, come on, man, what's going on? The caffeine normally stimulates me. It's like you just realize that you run out of smoke, you run out of chugging. It's not working. Like, I like your analogy. It's like the weave of alcohol isn't working, which means you can't carry the basket anymore. Like the basket's not working.
Exactly right.
It's fascinating that whilst you're away, I ran one of our classes for our students, for our members, I should say. And I said to them, if it's not getting a little bit more difficult now, it's never going to get a little bit more easier later. And I just love what you shared there earlier. Like people think that when they remove alcohol, life gets harder. No, it doesn't. Life's hard. Life's difficult. So people think there's this is a big misconception. Hey, like people have one of the biggest misconceptions is quitting alcohol is hard. No, it's not. Living life is hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
without
Yeah.
pain suppressants and medication that's legalized, and you don't even have to go to a. We walked past a pub the other day. I just literally said this to Jamie like 72 hours ago. I said, "Do you know what I think of that pub over there?" She goes, "What is it?" I go, "I reckon that I've always thought that that's just a pharmacy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a social pharmacy.
Yeah,
Like people
nice.
just go in there to socialize and consume. Like you can literally
And
go in there
medicate.
and look at, yeah, you can look at the medication and go, Belvedere, oh, Grey Goose is on special.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
if I they look at their watch and go, if I have 3 of those in the next 30 minutes, I'm not going to feel anything.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
feel joy or bliss or not be like, it's just,
Tommy, you just gave me the darkest image ever, right? Like,
I'm
imagine
sorry.
this.
It is a
Imagine
dark
this.
image.
Imagine if you had groups of people of, let's say, 50. Let's say 3 nights a week, you had groups of 50 people all congregate around, and they take a tablet, and it gives them, they become banal, they become animalistic, they become docile and but kind of gregarious. And it was all this weird scene for 4 hours, and then they all toddled off and were kind of, they looked a bit injured and they got home. Imagine if you saw that. Imagine if you saw that, and we didn't know what alcohol was. You'd be like, "We have a huge public emergency. Like, we need to do something about this."
Yeah, yeah. It's just, I love it. It's just like we've just become so normalized to it that it's not freaking us out. But if it just happened for the first time, it'd be like, what's going on? This person went into that place and came out. What happened in there?
Yeah, we need to get the military. There's something in the water.
So well said, man. Like, I love that. Oh God. I just think I had a question from one of our live members. Somebody's asking, actually, let's answer a live question. Isabel's on the call saying, what do you say to yourself when you get to that point? What point specifically, Isabel? If you can just clarify that question for me and write it in there again, the specific question, and we'll make sure it's answered for you. And Nat, what I like as well, like, what are your thoughts on this? For anybody that's listening, there's been a lot of fads, right? But in my mind, a fad is like, you've got to do something new. Like you've got to add something to your life that you weren't doing, like a certain diet or a gym challenge or something.
Yes, it's an addition. You're the same person, but there's something else more you got to do.
There we go.
Yeah, that's hard.
More you got to do. And what I love about alcohol reduction is you don't have to do much. You just need to stop doing one thing. We had a client on our Saturday live Q&A.
Sorry, that's so good. You don't have to do much. Now give us all your money. Give us all your money.
Yeah. And then just do nothing. You'll be fine. Yeah. We had one of our members on the Saturday live Q&A this week, just 2 days ago, and they said, Tom, what have I got to do this week? And I said to them, and I love your thoughts on this, Nat, but I said to them, to be really honest, if you just spent most of your time focusing and putting intention into stop doing the alcohol consumption, your body's naturally going to readjust and find alternative ways. And I think people spend so much time and energy trying to do what they need to do instead of the alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
And then they're not focusing what, they just need to stop doing, and let go of that. And it's,
you got to take that effort and attention and put it into just everything that just make sure you don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can actually, if you look at the problem and with radical acceptance it's a problem, then you realize that your attention and energy needs to sort that out. Like, it's like there's a realization of like, I really have to solve that before anything else happens. So it's like people feel they got to, put all this effort in other places. It's like when alcohol really grabs you, if you put all your attention and energy into solving that, it makes everything else easier. Like, it requires the priority of attention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Now we got this question coming through. Isabel sharing, what do you say to yourself when you get to that point when you need 4 or 5 drinks to feel anything? I'm going to share something here because really passionate about it. It's not a judgment. It's just, it is what it is. Number one, if you don't feel the buzz of 2 drinks, you shouldn't be consuming alcohol. And people say, like as Nat shared a minute ago, his wife used to have a couple of drinks and feel like she was in the optimal prime. It's like, oh my God, 2 margarita me. And I would
love that, because that's great for me.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. And now it's like had 5 the other day. It's like nothing's working. So yeah, at the end of the day, I believe that if you need more than 2 doses of medication to help you, you shouldn't be consuming alcohol. And some people say, "Oh no, I've just got a high tolerance." No, you've just got a low threshold to deal with life.
Oh, that's a bit of a banger. That's so true.
So anybody that says I've got a high tolerance to alcohol really is just saying I've got a low threshold to deal with life. So my need for alcohol has to rise higher than most people.
If anyone listening to that, if you let that actually detonate in you, I mean,
that's it. This is why people do nothing until they end up consuming so much that they end up in a rehab clinic, which is that it's just what I said there on steroids. It's like
it's what you said multiplied.
Yeah, multiplied by 10. And the other thing is when someone asks, what do you say to yourself when you need 4 or 5 drinks to feel anything? The other thing to be aware of is that the statement there is not what do you do when you need 4 to 5 drinks to feel anything. The statement's actually what do you do when you need 4 or 5 drinks to feel nothing? Because alcohol's not helping you feel anything. It's helping you not feel certain things. That's really important to understand. Yeah. Thanks for the thumbs up. Isabel, did that answer your question? I provide insight or value there, and thanks for sending the question through. Just keep an eye on these comments panel if you're listening to this in your car or on YouTube. Now,
yes, sir.
What are your thoughts? I started this journey of alcohol reduction in 2015, and there's a podcast or some kind of recording of me on Facebook somewhere. I think I saved it just because my ego was like, if this happens, I want to be like one of those people that said it really early.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. But I said, I thought to myself, I really do believe that one day, and it's probably hope as well, but I really do believe that one day alcohol goes through the same process that the cigarette industry went through years ago.
It is looking that way. It is looking that way.
Which is doctors used to medicate stressed people by telling them to have a couple of ciggies. Like, is that bizarre? It's not passing the blame. It's just sharing insights into like how far we've come. And I think we've all adopted a bit of a mentality where like 1 or a couple of drinks a night just helps reduce the stress. It's just self-medication.
Yeah.
You think that we've got a chance at going that way? Do you think there's going to be a day where
I do actually. I do. Because it's already happening. Like it's already happening. People might not be as diligent in their vocabulary or as clear as a precise experience as that. They might not want to accept, here you go, Tommy, they might not want to accept the full whack that it is only a bad thing, right? It's literally alcohol is one thing on the planet that is only a bad thing. So it's not a matter of have people heard the message. It's a matter of how deep do they want it to resonate in them? Because when you let it resonate, you realize it's only a bad thing. Yeah. And at the deep level.
You said something like when we started this podcast, Nat, along the lines of just because it's legal doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
And that's just stuck with me for a long time. Like just because it's legal doesn't mean it's good. And I think a lot of us walk around this world thinking, well, if the government in this country's legalized it, it's good for me. Whether that's alcohol, cigarettes, walking up the aisle.
But it's not, it's not even that they're bad. It's also that they don't know also. It's just an ignorance thing. Like it's not even like a he said, she said bad thing. It slipped through the cracks of everyone. That's the slipperiness of it. There's no one to blame. It's just slipped its way in. And now we all kind of gain from it, but lose from it. And we don't really get to have a look at it. A true look at it. It's only bad. It's only bad at all levels. It's only bad at all levels.
How many people are willing to accept that?
Look, literally financially, the people that make it are the only ones that win financially. It hurts people's lives. It lowers consciousness. It has huge taxes on it. Some in other areas, like it just creates chaos everywhere.
It's interesting when you say that the only people that make like financial profit are those that make it. The amount of people that produce
Yeah.
and make. I've had both beer and wine that have approached me to say, look, I don't want to be drinking, but I'm caught between a rock and a hard place because
Yeah.
I feel like my life has been about producing alcohol to the world, and now I'm individually not wanting to drink alcohol. So what does that mean? And that's
What are we doing? It's only bad. It touches everyone.
yeah, that'd be a that'd be a tough spot to be in. To
Absolutely.
create an external environment and life's work. It's hard enough.
That's
It's
only
hard
bad.
Yeah, it's hard enough reneging on the life that you used to live, which is one of the leading reasons why people don't change, because they have to go through a process of accepting that they may have been ignorant the year before. Like,
Yeah.
I used to love alcohol and I'm the party person. And it's like, I'm going to be sober. And the brain's like, well, don't be too sober, because remember,
Don't be too
you used
sober.
to say that it's really good.
Psychopath.
But that'd be hard. That'd be hard running a bottle shop even, or producing and
Yeah.
owning a winery and making wine from scratch. I've spoken to someone this year in 2023 that's experiencing that, and yeah, that'd be hard. Hey.
Tom, this literally gets us to a point, right? This literally gets us to a point where it's like, okay, I might have to face the fact that sobriety forever is the right choice. Stay with me. Let's play with that. Sobriety forever. How terrifying is that? That sucks. Okay, here's a simple solution to that. When you've learned how to change your state of mind with alcohol, when you stop alcohol, that is when you can truly change your state of mind. Like, people think, oh, I'm going to be stuck in this strange neutral and kind of scared place forever. With it, I don't really know what's going on. It's like, from that place, there is so many things you can do to change your state of mind and actually experience something real and new. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It's kind of summing up the I don't know if it was Einstein. I can be corrected by any of our listeners here. The same thing that caused the problem can't be the same thing that finds the solution. And I think a lot of people are trying to find the best version of themselves whilst they're in an alcohol cycle. It's like that's not how it works.
It can't. You literally can't. Like, let's say that Monday to Friday you've crushed it. You are doing a journaling practice. You are having hard conversations at work. You are engaging in challenging things. You're philosophizing. You are pushing yourself ethically and to stay hard-edged and ethical and moral, and you're growing as a person. Let's say you're doing that. But on Friday night, you become a pisshead and wake up hungover Saturday and be a shithead again. Nothing works. It doesn't matter how. It's that full on.
Yeah. Well said, man. Well said. I think we all need to understand the. Some people say power. I say vulnerable. Like how vulnerable we are. Like to put in so much work and then just act as if it's going to be okay.
1 night, 2 nights a week. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the alcohol again. We never say that it is the alcohol, but to work on yourself and then just let loose and take no responsibility for an 8-hour window is just so damaging. And I don't think people understand that. It's not saying
you said it really well, Tom.
It's not saying people aren't doing good enough. It's just important to understand. Like,
it's important to understand that window is a big wound on the whole process of everything.
Oh, perfect example, mate.
It's just a puncture, like a.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm currently. Look, you and I nail the alcohol industry. We can help anyone solve the problem around alcohol, but we've also got our own issues that we need to deal with in life in general.
Oh yeah.
And in a recent journey I've been on with ditching the coffee as part of looking after my gut health, I've ignorantly ignored it for the first 24 years of my life and consciously ignored it for the past 2 years of my life.
Can I tell you a quick story? Real quick one.
Sure.
We were playing golf, real quick, and I knew you were different before and after a coffee. I'm like, I've got him. He's different before and after a coffee.
Yeah, isn't that funny, right? So ditching that was really hard. Anyway, the moral of the story is, like when you said with alcohol, like a one slip up can be so damaging. What I've learned recently, Nat, I've just started a FODMAP diet, right? I've got to do this FODMAP diet for 4 weeks to look at gut health and also try to eliminate potential IBS symptoms, irritable bowel symptoms, or inflammatory bowel syndrome. And what I'm noticing is that from living cleanly with what I put in my body, which is next to nothing, no starchy foods, like really
Just
minimizing
keep
the
it
risk
solid.
of,
Yeah.
just keep it, really light and solid, is I go to myself, same with people that do in the alcohol industry, right? I'm a human being. I go to myself, great, I've done like 7 days here. This is a joke. I've never ate so healthy for 7 days. I'm like, cool, I can have one chocky.
Yeah.
So yesterday I thought to myself, but I won't get, a confectionery item from Coles because that's really bad. I'll get a at-home made brownie from the cafe, chocky brownie.
Here we go.
Oh my God. Yesterday I felt so off. My bowel symptoms were disgusting. Like I just felt so gross.
Yep.
And I had this observation. Wow.
I can't do
my
that
gut,
anymore.
my gut. Yeah, I know you can't. My gut is so vulnerable. It doesn't matter if I do 7 days, just experiencing 7 days feeling great. And that one thing, it's taken me, I'm 33 now. It's taken me 33 years to realize, my gut is really vulnerable. And I used to be so vulnerable to gambling and alcohol. And I don't think, if you never break a cycle, you never get a chance, do you? You never get a chance to understand how, on the other side of it, how powerful you can be. Like if I didn't start this diet that I've put off for 2 years, I would just never understand how vulnerable my guts are, and in turn, how susceptible I am to try to run away from that with coffee and stimulants and not having to deal with it. And I think you and I teach that to a lot of people, don't detox because you need to go sober, detox because you need to give yourself permission to figure out how good life can be without it. And then when you go back to alcohol, you can realize how effed up it is.
Mm-hmm. Mate, fiery podcast coming back on.
Solid podcast, man. Solid podcast. What would one thing? Let's I want to do it a little bit differently. Sign off today. Now, what would be one thing you conscious, like just down the line, share to someone who's listening to this, who's either on the journey or on the fence to changing their relationship with alcohol in regards to the conscious collective movement? What's one thing you might share?
Yes. I would say, it's such a tricky one, eh? It's such a tricky one. It's more so, it's a question of trust. It's a question of honesty, of that fundamental honesty, that real, well, all walls are down, all kind of objections, rationalities, excuses are down. And it's that vulnerable moment. It's raw, it's sensitive, where you only want the truth of the matter. And when you only want the truth of the matter, it's so damn clear that you gently take yourself off and you do the work.
Yeah, mate, if I can add to that, when you say like you just gently take yourself off and do the work, to anyone that's listening, the train's leaving.
Yeah,
for anybody who's ever been frustrated or shitty or annoyed at how much they're drinking alcohol, you are living in the best possible times. If you were living 40 years ago, this would be so much harder. And it's not to...
Yeah, now's the time. Jump on the train.
Yeah. I'll even say it's a very lucky time, isn't it, Nat, for people? The amount of non-alcoholic beverage, like even 3 years ago when I moved up to Port Macquarie, I remember I got a weird look. Even when I went to purchase a Carlton Zero, like it was still, they'd only just got their first cases of Carlton Zero. They were like, one of those zero beers. Yeah, I think we just got some in. It's only in the last 3 years. Now they've got like 6 options and people are drinking them all the time. So...
Oh, I have to add one important thing to this picture, Tommy. It's a very important thing. In this way we're shaping it, in this big context we're holding, the exact opposite experience will be felt. So you'll either feel it as a big, strong wanting to let go, or you'll feel like alcohol has a grip on you tighter than ever, because it's two sides of the same coin. When you do want to separate out of something, you get hit with more of its teeth. Does that make sense? So you either, the teeth grab. So you either experience that as, I need to get out of here, or the teeth grab going, oh, it's got me.
Yeah. Yeah. But both are like great feedback, aren't they? It's like, I'm free. I'm going to be free from this. Or it's like, I'm stuck in this.
I'm in this. Holy shit. I gotta move. I gotta boogie.
Yeah. I'm glad you threw that in. We'll probably sign off on that because feeling stuck in it isn't evidence to suggest you should be doing it. It's evidence to suggest it's probably not good for you.
Let's get a wriggle on.
Oh, I love it. Nat, thanks, mate. So
Yeah.
good to have you back. Here's
All
to
good.
Drinking Less and Feeling Fresh. Anybody that's listening on Spotify or watching this YouTube series, hello, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you same time, same place next week for the Fresh AF Monday podcast recording. If you do want to show up live, head to drinklessfeelfresh.com and you can register and show up live to these. You can throw some questions down the line and we'll make sure they answer for you. Other than that, continue drinking less and feeling fresh. Here's to changing our relationship with alcohol. Here's to living with more and more choice and freedom.